Cataloging or adding objects is the first step in building your Collectify collection database. Cataloging an object begins with recording basic descriptive information about it, such as what it is, who made it, where it was made, and so on. Collectify's new object wizard makes it easy by providing you with the basic descriptive fields for many different types of objects, based on the Getty Object ID categories, the international standard for describing cultural objects. In this video, you'll learn how to add a new object to a collection using the new object wizard. Before you add an object, think about the collection type that you will use to reference it, and the categories of information you want to track. If you'd like some ideas, take a few minutes to explore the objects in the sample database to see the types of information fields Collectify uses for various collection types. If you don't see all the fields you need for your collection, don't worry, you can customize a collection type to suit your needs, or even create a new one from scratch, as we'll see in another video. For this demonstration, we'll add a clay sculpture called A Pair of Pears by Canadian artist Karen Dahl to the Hughes Collectibles collection of a fictitious collector, Hugh Got It All. There are several different ways that you can add a new object, depending on the area of the program you are currently working in. On the home page, the Add a New section lists the various categories of new information that we can add to the database, such as objects, contacts, insurance policies, and so on. To add a new object, click Object under Add a New. The new Object Wizard Welcome screen appears. If you don't wish to see the Wizard Welcome screen the next time you add an object, simply click in the box at the bottom of the Wizard window. The new Object Wizard prompts you to record basic cataloging information about the object. You can update and add to this information later, so feel free to enter as little or as much information as you wish. To continue, click on Next. The Collection Type screen appears, prompting us to select from a list of almost 36 built-in collection types, as well as any custom ones you may have created. Since we're adding a sculpture, we want Collectify to prompt us for information relevant to that category. To move down any Collectify list, you can either click and drag the scroll box on the right, use the scroll wheel on your mouse, or press the down arrow key on the keyboard. Scroll down the list until you see Paintings, Drawings, and Sculptures. Then click to select it, and click on Next. The first step of the new Object Wizard appears. This is the default order for entering information for the built-in collection types, but you can change the order if you like through Collectify's customization features, which we'll cover in another video. Here we see that Collectify has already entered a number in the reference number field. A reference number is a unique number assigned by Collectify which identifies the object within a particular collection. No two objects can have the same reference number, and as you can see, the default reference number shows the current year, month, and day, as well as a sequential number representing the number of objects added on this date. When you let Collectify assign reference numbers, it keeps track of the numbering for you and will automatically enter the next available number. If you use your own custom reference number, you can enter it instead. Either way, Collectify will tell you the last number entered in the collection and the last number entered of the selected collection type, and will warn you if a number has already been used. Since we've selected a collection type, the wizard wants to know detailed information about the object. The collection subtype box or field typically lists the cultural group or style associated with an object, such as Americana or Art Deco, but you can use it to further divide the collection type into categories which are useful to you. In our case, we want to keep track of the sculptures we own that are ceramic, so click in the box and type ceramic. In the field below, Collectify wants to know what type of object this is. Notice that as you move your mouse over the box or field, a balloon tip appears, displaying descriptive information about how to work with the current field. Collectify's built-in collection type fields have been developed by professional catalogers, so this information can be a useful guide for cataloging just about any collection. An object type is a simple term or short phrase that describes what the object is, such as a painting, toy soldier, chair, or plate. You can select a type from the built-in list, or type in the text. If you enter text, try to be consistent so that it will be easier to search for similar objects in the future. To view the list of object types available for the Paintings, Drawings, and Sculptures collection type, click on the downward pointing arrow. You can add a custom entry to any drop-down list by clicking on the Edit option at the bottom. To enter the object type, we'll click on Sculpture. Then click on Next to continue, and the New Object Step 2 screen appears. In the Date or Period box, we can enter an exact date, a date range, or a period, such as Victorian. We'll enter 2001. Then press Tab to go to the Country of Origin field. The sculptor is Canadian, and when we type a C, Collectify automatically fills in with the first matching entry on the list. Typing AN enters Canada, so we can click in the Artist Creator field to continue. The icon in this box indicates that the information you enter here will be stored in the Creator Contact module. This keeps you from having to repeatedly enter the same information by allowing one name to be linked to more than one object. We'll type the artist's name, Karen Dahl. Then press Enter. A warning box appears, informing us that this name does not appear in the collection. To create the new entry, click on Yes, and Collectify displays the artist's name, last name first. Once a name has been added, you can access it from a list by clicking on the Link Contact Creator icon on the right, which displays a plus sign. To remove a linked entry, simply click on the red Delete Entry button. For now, we'll skip the Attributed to field and click in the Title field, where we'll enter a pair of pairs. Then press Tab to move to the Description field. The description can contain any information you'd like to add that is useful for describing the object. This type of realistic sculpture is referred to as trompe-l'oeil, which literally means fool the eye. So we'll enter trompe-l'oeil pairs. Keep in mind that at any point while using the New Object wizard, you can go back to the previous screen, finish the wizard process, cancel the wizard, or access Help just by clicking on the appropriate button at the bottom of the wizard window. To continue, we'll click on Next. The fields on the Signed Marked screen are used to enter information about inscriptions, maker's marks, signatures, and other identifying marks that appear on the object. We'll open the Type list and select Inscribed. Then click in the Inscription box and type KDAL01. Next, we'll click in the Placement box and enter Lower Corner. Keep in mind that after you complete the wizard, you can enter additional signatures or marks, as well as an identifying digital image. Click on Next to continue to step 4 of the wizard, which prompts us for more specific details about how the object was made. In the Medium field, we'll open the list and select Clay. Then click in the Technique box. Conveniently, if you already know that a term is on a list, you can select it without opening the list. For example, the technique for this piece is Cast. When we enter the C, Carved appears, and pressing the down arrow key moves us down the list to Cast. We can be even more specific by clicking after the word Cast and typing, Hand Built. We'll leave the other fields blank and click on Next to go to the next step of the wizard. In the Current Owner field, we'll enter the name Hugh Got It All. The Acquisition Mode field tracks the way in which the object was acquired, whether by purchase, gift, inheritance, and so on. This piece is from a gallery, so open the list and select Gallery. When we click in the checkbox in the Acquisition Date field, today's date is entered. However, we can change this by clicking on the downward pointing arrow. A calendar appears, allowing us to click on any date we choose. The right and left arrows are used to scroll through the months. To display another year, click on the year and use the scroll box. Click on a specific date to enter it. We'll skip the other fields on this page and click on Next to continue. Now the wizard asks us for the permanent location of the object. We'll enter today's date. Notice that the information on this screen increasingly becomes more specific, so that you can log an object's exact location in a building, room, shelf, or even a box on a shelf. We'll open the list and click on Apartment. Then skip the rest of the screen and click on Next. We'll also skip adding notes for now by clicking on Next. Adding a digital image makes it easy to identify the object within the collection. The fields on the Media screen allow you to link the object to a picture, an audio file, or a video. If you don't have an image handy, don't worry, you can always add it at a later time. We'll add a JPEG image of the sculpture to the collection. To identify the type of media, click on the downward pointing arrow next to the Type box and select Digital Image. The Import button allows you to import image or media files that already exist on your computer or another storage device, while the Scan button allows you to create an image from a scanner or digital camera attached to the computer. To import the image, we'll click on the Import button, and the Import Image dialog box opens. In the Look-In box, select the folder that contains the image you want to import. Clicking on an image file name displays it in the Preview box. Click on the Open button, and the image is displayed in the Media box. Collectify saves a copy of the image to the database and will display a thumbnail or small image of this picture as a reference to this object throughout the program and in reports. You can also associate more than one picture or other media with an object, as we'll see in another video. Click on Next to continue. The Measurements screen allows you to enter a group of measurements for specific features of the object. By default, Collectify sets up measurements to correspond with the standard collection types that come with the program. Keep in mind that these measurements can be customized to suit the objects that you will be cataloging. To enter the sculpture's height, we'll enter 10.8. We'll leave the measurement in inches, but you can select centimeters or many other types of measurements from the drop-down list. In the Width box, we'll enter 7.1, and then enter the depth measurement of 6.1. We'll continue by clicking on Next and move to the last screen of the wizard, which confirms that we've added an object to the database. When the Continue Editing This Record option is selected, Collectify will immediately display the record information for the newly added object once the wizard closes. To close the wizard, click on Finish. The Object's Description window now appears, displaying the record for the object we just added. At the top, in the Record Identifier area, we see an icon which identifies the collection type we've chosen for this object, along with the reference number, object type, artist, title, and period. To the right is a picture of the sculpture, and below the record identifier, we see the description window, displaying the descriptive information fields which pertain to this object. The Record Explorer pane on the right lists object windows, which are used to display different categories of information about the object. Currently, we are in Description View, which allows you to edit or delete the information in these fields if you wish, or add additional fields if necessary by clicking on the Add Field button at the bottom. We'll cover adding and removing fields in another video. To display a summary of this object's information, click on the Quick View icon at the top of the Record Explorer. This view can be customized to display the fields which you specify. However, you cannot edit object information from this window. The icons in the Record Explorer are used to open windows that reference other modules and groups of information related to this object. We'll work with these modules in depth in other videos, so let's take a brief look. A filled icon indicates that a specific type of information has been entered. For example, the Measurements, Media, Permanent Location, and Signature and Marks icons are filled, and as you'll recall, we entered this information in the Add New Object wizard. For example, when we click on the Signature and Marks icon, we see the inscription information we entered at the top of the list. From this window, we can add additional identifying marks and even a picture of the mark if we wish. If a Record Explorer icon is not filled, no information of that type has been entered for the current object, although you can add information at any time. We'll be covering all of the modules in the Record Explorer in another video. Now let's see how the newly added object looks in the Objects list. In the Collection Explorer pane on the left, the Objects module groups objects according to object status, such as active, sold, deleted, and so on. To display all the active objects in the collection database, click on Active. The Active Objects list opens, and we see the newly added object highlighted in the list, along with a thumbnail picture of it to the right. To open this object in Quick View, simply double-click on it in the list. For more information on working with objects, see our other Collectify videos.